So I wanted to talk about this rudder assembly a little bit. In a video quite a while ago, I talked about how this rudder, there's a shaft that goes up through, I'll pull this out here in a second and show you, that goes up through this part of the rudder assembly, and then the shaft sticks out on top, and I'll show that here in a minute too. But let me pull this rudder down and show that in a second. Hold on. All right, so I let the rudder, I've got blocks there to hold it up, but I let it down up so you can see the shaft, and it goes up through that hole. And in that hole, there are O-rings to, of course, keep the water out. And then I'll show up top how it's held up in here, but I wanted to talk about how it's held and what I did to improve that. All right, so up top, here's the shaft coming up through this part of the rudder assembly, and like I mentioned, there are O-rings towards the top here and underneath, and then there's this Zerk fitting here so you can apply grease, and I'm going to put an extension hose, grease fitting extension hose, so I can grease this, because I won't be able to reach this Zerk fitting once everything's in here, because the fuel tank platform will be here and the fuel tank will be in the way and stuff. There'll be no way to reach it. So, but what holds this rudder up is this collar, and in this collar, I've got marker on it because I was marking where it went. It's just got 2 set screws, and so the way it is that would slide down on there, and then you just tighten those 2 set screws, and then that's basically all that would hold that up from falling down. And then of course there's this tiller arm that goes on here that connects to my hydraulic steering cylinder. I suppose that might help, like if this collar were to come loose, that might hold it, but anyway, I was pretty uncomfortable with just having those 2 set screws on this smooth shaft here to hold that rudder from falling down. And I've heard of guys that have a little bit different rudder assemblies. I mean, there are different ones that are used, but this similar type of thing where whatever was used to hold that shaft from sliding down, it came loose on them and went down, of course damaged your propeller and everything else. So and of course it could just fall out too. So I'll show you what I did. So what I did was on this collar, like I mentioned, there are 2 set screws there, and so you can see what I did is I took my Dremel tool with a grinding wheel and I cut little notches, basically a notch here in that shaft, and then up there for the other one. It was a little scary to do. I don't really like doing that, but I wanted to do something here, because now when that set screw in, there's basically a nice lip here, and so the set screw, or the when the collar goes on, of course this will be done after the shaft is inserted up in there. Oh, okay. So I want to go in. Hold on. So now when I put that on, and when I tighten the set screw, it'll go down in that notch. And even if it comes a little loose, it'll still hold this rudder from falling off the bottom of the boat. And I'm going to use Loctite on these also. And then that tiller arm, like I mentioned, it connects up here. And so with all that, it should that should hold it. But basically, this collar is the main thing that holds it. And with Loctite, and then with those little channels in there, that will hold it much better. So there it is, installed with a collar in place and tightened on there. Again, I'll need to redo that by putting Loctite on those set screws, but I'll do that later. And then this tiller arm goes up like this, and then there's a keyway actually right here that goes in there, and I'll install that a little later. And then that's what works for the tiller arm. And then you can see how the steering cylinder then will, as it pulls that back and forth. And the steering cylinder, when the tiller arm goes back, it has to go out this way a little bit, and the steering cylinder is designed to do that. This part up here actually allows it to swivel, basically. And so there it is with the keyway in, and that keeps the tiller arm from slipping on the shaft as this cylinder goes back and forth.